What is going on, everybody? My name is Michael Levan. Thank you so much for joining me today. And what we're going to talk about is GoLand. Now, if you're not familiar with GoLand, essentially what it is it's an IDE, very much like VS Code, for example. Well, VS Code can be considered a text editor or an IDE, but maybe you're familiar with PyCharm or maybe you're familiar with IntelliJ. A lot of these products are actually created by JetBrains, and GoLand, which maybe you've guessed it by now, is a IDE specific for Go. So what I want to do in this video is I just want to take you through a really quick walkthrough on essentially getting started with GoLand and a few of the little key features that you can use. With that, let's jump right in. So, of course, the first thing that you're going to do is actually install it. So what you're going to do is just go to Google and type in GoLand. Now, the one thing that you do need to know is that this is not free. However, you can install a free trial if you want to, and if you enjoy it, you can buy it. JetBrains has a lot of different subscription models and stuff like that. So you could go to, for example, jetbrains.com/go, and then you can see here you have a 30-day free trial, which, I mean, if you're writing Go code a decent amount of time, I would say 30 days is probably good for just so you know, like, if it's something that is worth buying for you or not, because it's not like something cheap. I don't even know how much it is actually. Let's check that out. So you can see, like, there's a yearly thing where you can pay 200, or there's a monthly where you can pay 19.90. So figure 20 bucks a month. Which, again, if you're using it a lot, it's good. And another thing that you can do, obviously, too, is, like, if you have any type of software budget at work, you can definitely ask for your manager or whoever about this to see if you can get this through work, which is great. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to actually download it. And then you're going to get this exe here, and then you're going to go through, the setup and next, stuff like that. I'm not going to bore you with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and open up GoLand. So I have GoLand right here. I'm going to open this up, and this is going to start to open up our IDE here, right? This is loading. It's preparing a workspace. So as you can see, I have some code in here already. But what I'm going to do is just going to go to new, and I'm going to say new project, for example. I wonder if I can just get this to, all right, so let's close out of that. Let's see if I can, no, that's okay. You know what? I'll keep the project up there. That's perfectly fine. Well, what I can do is I can go to file, go to new, project. So then I can start to create a new project here. So what I could do is I can specify the location. Now, the cool thing is that the location, it defaults directly to your Go path, but you don't have to keep it in your Go path if you don't want to. So for example, like, I could put it on my desktop, and I can say, which Go route I want to use. In this case, I only have one. I'm using 1.15.2 for the version, or I can simply choose no SDK if I want to. And then I could say index the entire Go path if I want to as well. And do here is I'm going to say Go test. I'm going to open up terminal here. I'm going to cd to my desktop, and then mkdir Go test, just so that exists. And then what I can do is I can also set up a new module. So I can set up that new module. Again, I can do the same thing, pick the location, the route, but more or less I can also pick the environment, which is awesome as well. And then you have some DEP settings in here. You have some App Engine specific settings. And then you could do some web stuff as well. So you can have like an HTML5 boilerplate, React, Bootstrap, React Native if you want to. So it is really specific for Go. But like when you see a lot of these, like these web things, I'm assuming that it's because, if you have like a Go backend and you have like an HTML or React front end or something like that, which, you could use. And it's the same thing like in PyCharm and stuff, for example. You can sometimes use some other languages or like Docker files and stuff like that. But in our case, we just want a standard Go project. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click create. I'm going to give this a brand new window, and we can see our project is now created. So we do have a few options again, which is really nice. And this is one of the cool things that I really love about GoLand is the Git option. So if you are working out of like a Git repo, for example, you can do all of your commits from here. You can do all of your pushes from here. You can see different trees based on, if you have multiple branches and you want to see the differences. So for example, I think I can actually show you this in here. So if I go to Git, for example, this may not, oh no, this actually is not a project that's in GitHub, but what I can do is I can open one up. That's fine. Let me just see like a good example here. Okay, so I have this Golang Azure directory open. It's actually a Git repo that's sitting inside of GitHub. But as you can see, I could see what branches are local, what branches are remote if I had like a development branch, for example. And then I can also see all of the history that's occurred in Git, which is actually really awesome. Like this helps you out a ton if you're looking at, multiple different branches and you want to make sure that you're not going to have any collisions and stuff like that. If you try to merge from one branch to another, this is obviously really, really cool feature. So I'm going to minimize out of that. I'm going to go back to the Go test here. And then the next thing you have is like a to-do. So this is pretty interesting. If you have any type of like to-dos in your items, you can use that. You can use any current files, any scopes, default change lists, and then you can go to problems. So problems is interesting. Like for example, if you create some code and you don't say use a variable, for example, or you have any types of warnings, those problems will come up right here. So if I go to my terminal and you can see I have just like a standard terminal, like I could use like Go, for example, or, but it's, it is a little bit weird. Like for example, if I do ls, you can see like ls is not recognized as an internal or external command. So the terminal, you may not be used to it if you're trying to do like different types of commands and stuff like that. But standard stuff, like if you need to do a Go run and all that, it'll work. So the next thing is, if I minimize this, you can go to File and you can see a bunch of different options. So for example, you can manage IDE settings if you want to import or export different projects. You can go to Standard settings so you can change like your appearance. For example, I can go to IntelliJ Light and so bright. I'm going to go back to Darkula because that looks much better. All right. So then you can go to Go, and these are really the options for Go specifically. So for example, your Go root, your Go path, your build tags and vendoring. Like for example, my default OS right now is Windows. I have imports if I want to, DEP, Go modules. And then if I go to editor here, you can see just like different standard editings in terms of like code editing, the color scheme, the code style, stuff like that. If you wanted to use that, you could have any type of version control settings here if you have them. Build and execution settings here if you have them. Like for example, you go to Go Profiler and you get set up a CPU profiler, a memory block, mutex profiler, which is obviously really cool from a mutex perspective if you have mutex in your code. So you can also go to Docker and you can set up like specific Docker registries that you want to pull from or push to. You have different tools as well, like Docker executables and stuff like that. You can go to path variables. If you have any specific path variables, you can add them in. You can go to project structures. If you have a specific project structure you want to use, if it's excluded, resource roots, anything like that, you can add content as well. So there's a lot of really, really cool stuff here. Another thing that I wanted to show here, I was clicking around to find it, was under tools. If you go to file watchers, this is pretty sweet. Click on the plus button here, you can see that there's a whole bunch of different kinds. So for example, if you want to use like Go imports, what this will do is this will say, okay, if you have any imports that you're no longer using, it'll automatically take them out for you, which is really cool. And then another thing too is Golang lint CI or Golang CI lint. So let's say, for example, you're using like static check or using error check or Go format or Go sec or anything like that. Golang CI lint combines all of those into one linter. And what this allows you to do is you can embed this linter right into your project, which is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click apply here, right? And then minimize the terminal. So let's say you want to start writing some code. Well, what you can do here, for example, you can right click, go to new, I'll say Go file. I'm going to say main. All right, add. And then what I can do here is I can type, package main, func main set up a new function, for example, and then, fmt println hello YouTube, right? I could save that. Now, as you see, automatically it put in that format for us. So let's say you want to think about like some IntelliSense, like you're like, you know what? I got this package, but I really don't know what function I want to use from it. To FMT, and as you can see here, has awesome IntelliSense, awesome autocomplete, which is great. So you can see all the different types of functions that are available to you. And then it also lets you know like which type it is. Like on the right hand side, you can see the types. If it accepts any arguments, you can see the different types of arguments that it accepts. And then let's see, I think I can even, I can make this a little bit bigger. So you can see like, for instance, fscanLn, it's going to accept an int and an error. If I go up to, for example, like error f, wants a formatted string in an interface, println, it wants, some sort of type of string. So there are so many different cool things that you can do with this, especially from just like none of us, ever use like a package or a library or module and know every single function in it. So this really helps you from not having to Google essentially around, it's all right there for you. So I can go here, save this, and then if you want to run it, if I right click, I can run go build main.go, and then this is going to, of course, print out hello YouTube for us. Another thing you can do is, right from the terminal here, if I clear my screen here, I can do go run main.go, and then I can see the same thing, but you don't really actually have to do that. You can just right click and then, run, or you can even create. So you can do a go build on this. So I can do a go build here, and I can say, what kind of build do I want? Do I want a directory, a package, a file? I can say the files that the build is going to come from, what output directory, any arguments that I need, what module I'm using. I can click OK here, and then this is going to allow me to build. Click cancel out of here. And let's see, if I go to navigate, a lot of these features are going to be pretty much in like any other JetBrains IDE. So if you're using other JetBrains IDEs, a lot of these things might look familiar to you. But the biggest things are, of course, the IDE itself and the Intellisense and the Git, and how just, obviously well it works with GoLand, because that's, what the IDE is supposed to do. It's supposed to work with GoLand. So with that, that's just a really, really quick intro to GoLand. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other questions or anything that I can answer, or if you want me to do another type of video like this actually using GoLand, definitely let me know. Take care, everybody, and thanks for watching.